Okay, Dad Gang, I watched this 4-part story so you wouldn't have to. So this is Amani, and what started as a dream move to Los Angeles quickly spiraled into a nightmare, and here's why. So it all began when Imani's friend, Dosi, and her girlfriend invited her to join LA. Now Imani, she's from Philly, and she's known these girls for about like 3 or 4 years. So her actual friend is Dosi, and Dosi has a girlfriend, and we'll just call the girlfriend for now. They all met through work, and they used to talk about like moving to LA and pursuing their dreams. Now at that time, Amani was working at a luxury store, like a big red one. She was pursuing her career to work in fashion. Now Amani was working as a stylist. And finally, like one day, Dosi and her girlfriend was like, you know what? I'm gonna finally make this leap of faith. We're gonna move to LA. So they move out, and Amani, she just couldn't move out at the time for some reason. So Amani stays back in Philly. And eventually, Amani started feeling like unfulfilled at her job that she was working at, the big red one. Like, she believed that her ideas were being stolen and that just her career just wasn't advancing in this job. She wasn't excelling. So then later her friends, the ones that decided to take the leap of faith to move out to LA, Dosi decides to contact Amani about a business launch that they're gonna have. And basically asked her to style the photo shoot, and Imani eagerly agreed, so then she gets flown out to LA. Her friends welcome her warmly. They picked her up from the airport and was like, you know what? Here, you're going to be staying with us at our apartment, yada, yada, yada. So Amani enjoys her trip. Things go super smooth, right? So then when Dosi and her girlfriend invite Amani to come back out for a DJ launch party, it honestly just enforced Amani's desire to want to move out there. Like, it re-sparked this whole I want to move out there from the conversations that they used to have. So she agrees to help with the party in LA. Her friends, Dosi and her girlfriend, encourage her to stay. They're like, girl, we have an extra room. We don't even go there. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. Like, please, like, by all means, come. Making it super clear that not only did they have space, but they really wanted Amani to move out to LA. So then Amani arrives back out in LA. She helps her friends prepare for this event. She's making calls. She's pulling outfits. And she's sending photos for approval. Dosi and her girlfriend, they're approving the outfits. And Amani buys the outfits first, planning to be reimbursed the money because, well, she had no issues in the past with them. However, Amani later discovers that Dosi and her friend, her girlfriend, had sent someone else from Philly to also help out. We're going to call this person Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell shows up. They hit it off. They enjoying drinks. They're having a great time. Now, on the day of the event, Amani walks into the apartment where they're all staying. Tinkerbell's in the living room. Dosi and her girlfriend are arguing. Dosi asks Amani if she could speak to her in private. Come to find out that the event that they're hosting needs a down deposit. A deposit to cover like the bar tab or something. Now, Amani's super surprised by this because she doesn't typically lend money out to friends just because it just gets messy. She like basically says she has a personal rule with lending money to friends. But Amani listens to the full story, and eventually Amani's like, you know what? Maybe the event is actually treating my friends unfairly, possibly not giving them proper treatment or just respect. So deciding to help them out, Amani agrees to help with the down deposit. However, before handing them the cash, she wants to make sure that they'll reimburse her for the outfits that she had to buy up front previously. So then Dosi and her girlfriend are like, yeah, we'll pay you back. Now, as the event time approaches, they all head to the venue to get ready, only to discover that the event space had never sent out the flyers, leaving them unsure if anyone even knew that the event was happening. And when the event finally actually starts, it's only clear that only few people actually showed up. Like, I'm talking about like 4 in person. That's it, 4 total. Now, Amani, she tries to stay positive. She tries not to mention the limited amount of people in the space. She just wants to be optimistic. She doesn't want her friends to feel bad. Now, as the night wraps up, Dosi then approaches Amani, basically saying, hey, we didn't meet the bar requirements, and there's a bill to cover. Now, Amani's taken back because she's unsure how to respond to that. But Dosi's like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And Amani looks at her, and she's like, what do you mean we? You mean you? You gonna figure it out because I'm not gonna figure it out. Because in Amani's head, she's like, I already paid for those dresses up front. I already paid for the down deposit to begin with. What more do you want from me? Like, I'm not a piggy bank. That's basically what she was In her head, she like, what the heck? I'm not an ATM. Now, Amani's not sure how the bill was paid. She says she thinks maybe Tinkerbell ended up helping. But like, certainly she wasn't going to do it, you know? Imani wasn't going to do it at all. So she went outside. She waited for them to go ahead and like finish their business. And the weekend went off without a hitch. Now, when Tinkerbell left, that's when things took a dramatic turn. Now, by this time, Imani had settled into LA. She's living with Dosi and her girlfriend, and things started to get complicated when Dosi and her girlfriend told Imani that they were negotiating a settlement with their landlord, meaning they had not paid rent, but had to be out by the end of the year. And at this time, it was already November. And one day, while Imani was at home, she heard a knock on the door. She receives a text from Dosi and her girlfriend saying, don't open up the door. Imani looks through the Ring camera. She sees Dosi and her girlfriend arguing with somebody. Dosi messages her again, asking Imani to go to the door and to tell the man that they'll be back soon. When Imani went outside, the man told Imani that whoever's living at this apartment needs to pay the rent or leave. Imani then relays the message to them, only to learn that Dosi and her girlfriend doesn't have a job. They were struggling to make ends meet and that they have been trying to DoorDash and Uber, but their bills were piling up faster than they can earn money. So then, determined to help, Imani then decides to help them. And she partakes in like staying up long periods of time trying to help them get this money. Like, I'm talking about 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. taking turns door dashing and Ubering. And at one point, Dosi looks at Imani and she's like, you know what? You should get an apartment in your name. And that we should all live together until we get back on our feet. And honestly, Imani just looks at them. She takes a deep breath and she's like, you know what? I'm deciding to go back to Philly after my birthday. They were like, okay, fine, we understand. But you know what? That understanding didn't last long. Imani's back in Philly now. She's chopping it up with her mom. She tells her mom everything that had happened. Her mom decides to look at her and is like, oh, hell no. They still need to pay you that money because they still haven't paid her. The down deposit, the clothes for reimbursement. Oh, yeah. Dosi and her girlfriend didn't pay Imani back at all. And Imani's mom is like, yeah, we need to go back right now to LA and we need to go figure out what's going on. So now Imani books a flight back. She reaches out to Dosi and her girlfriend. They're like, yep, we have your money. We'll pay you back. Imani like, cool, I'm landing in 3 days. Right off the bat, Imani's mom doesn't like them. I don't know what it is about like moms and whatnot and their superstition, but her mom, at first glance looking at both of them, she was like, I don't like them. No. Boop them out. Imani feeling this, she's like, okay, you know, I'm going to figure this out, mom. Don't worry about it. She books a flight back out for her mom that same night. So her mom heads back to Philly. So Imani's back in LA. She has her car. She ends up landing the styling job, so things are going good for her. She starts to notice that Dosi and her girlfriend are treating her differently now. And they're acting weird. Imani thinking like, you know what, maybe it's because they think that like somehow the money's going to be brought up in a conversation if we ever have one. And they don't obviously have it, so then it's going to make things awkward. She just doesn't know why they're acting weird. But these are the suggestions that she is suggesting. But regardless, Imani's just really trying to be respectful. She had lent this money back to them in September. We're in almost like November, December now. So Imani's like, you know what? I'm going to confront them. She confronts Dosi and her girlfriend about it. They immediately become aggressive, tripping out. Dosi reacted defensively, saying that money made her uncomfortable. Like, bitch, what? What you mean money makes you uncomfortable? Imani responded, acknowledging that money can be awkward, but insisting that since we are both adults, that we should just address this and try to move on. Well, because she needed this money to start her new life. She's living in LA now. And especially how her new job that she just scored had not paid her yet. Now, the conversation didn't go well. Dosi and her girlfriend got upset. They decided to yell at Imani. Now, Imani's confused. Basically asking herself, like, did I say something wrong? Like, what did I say wrong to y'all? All I did was just say, let's be grown-ups and deal it out together. Let's figure it out. Now, they were all staying at an Airbnb at this time together. Imani's like, you know what? I'm going to try to approach them again. Now, at this time, they're like staying at an Airbnb together. So Imani confronts Dosi later and she's like, hey, was it something that I said that offended you? Dosi's girlfriend's like, no, listen, I don't want to talk to you. We have nothing to say to you. Amani at this point is blown. She's frustrated. She starts to show them the invoice. She's like, $800 plus the $250 that you owe me? Like, yo, I just want my money. You guys owe me over $1,000. And then unexpectedly, Dulcie just starts crying on the bed. Amani finally putting two and two together. She's like, you know what? Are y'all betraying me? Like, is y'all intentions serious? Are y'all real? Are you guys not? Because at this point, Amani just feels like they're taking advantage of her. And the next morning comes. Amani wakes up to not only are they gone, but all of Amani's stuff is gone too. They had unfollowed her, blocked her on everything, and literally disappeared with all of her money. So then Amani's like, you know what? I'm over it. Like, she's done. I'm gonna literally end this. Fast forward, Amani ends up booking a photo shoot as a stylist assistant. She's working it with a friend who hooked her up with this photo shoot. And the photo shoot is around Melrose. They're wrapping it up. So they're like, you know what? We're going to celebrate. We're going to drink shots. They start taking shots and they transition the shots outside. All of a sudden, a drunk guy appears, acting like he knows somebody, but nobody's really acknowledging him. So everyone's kind of like shooing him away. Drunk guy then later shows up again after he was shooed away. And he ends up getting into it with the owner. And they're basically escorting this drunk guy out because he's acting all sloppy, acting as if he knows somebody. And the owner's like, yo, listen, this is a closed area. But all we know is that like not even like 20 to 30 minutes later, as Amani's organizing the clothes and getting ready to leave, she just starts hearing pew pew shots like pop pop all over the place. And then Amani is pulled to the ground for safety and just chaos erupts. And while Amani doesn't know who the shooter was, she started questioning whether or not if it was Dulcie and her girlfriend for revenge or if it was the drunk guy from before. All Amani knows is that she never visually saw the shooter. And this terrifying incident finally made Amani realize just how dangerous her new life in LA had become. Moving to LA isn't always the dream that it seems to be. Amani advises people to never run into a random relationship or make big moves like the one that she tried to do, especially when your financial stability and your well-being is on the line. Know your worth, have a backup plan, and just never let anyone take advantage of you. Lessons that Amani had to learn the hard way. I mean, honestly, Dead Gang, like I always say, what do you think of this?